Yo, boys, welcome to another live stream. We are here to cover Game Week 8, and Charlie has painstakingly put up a bunch of agenda that we need to cover. Unfortunately, none of them are in YouTube style. It looks like he wrote for somebody who's in their 1960s working at a printing press, working up the headlines for tomorrow morning's paper. But respecting his efforts, I'm actually gonna run you down the agenda before we get into the stream. And for game week 8, Cherries closed the Gunners' barrel. Manchester United put up a pretty commendable win, and the villains stormed the cottages. And lastly, Reds beat the Blues, and not before North London got painted white this week.
For
This
a week.
or this week's edition of Sports Entertainment Weekly, presented to you by VS, Chris, and Charlie. Hello, gentlemen. What is it? Cooking? Or okay, I don't know. That's enough
Yeah.
for the.
So, most important result of the weekend, despite the fact that Chelsea were playing, I would say was Arsenal losing against Bournemouth.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
to be very honest to myself, I gave Bournemouth little to no chance against Arsenal, despite a few injuries that affected Arsenal. I have massive respect for Bournemouth after watching what they have done. Now, my opinion on what wrong for Arsenal is not what went wrong this weekend. It's something that happened a few weeks back, which is when Martin Odegaard got injured. Now, I have a theory. I have a slight feeling that Odegaard's injury. So Odegaard is naturally an attacking midfielder for Arsenal. He plays eight. He can carry the ball through the mid, but his primary job is to create the task and play in between the lines up ahead. And you would naturally expect that when you lose a player like Martin Odegaard,
Yes.
the team would tend to suffer creatively. But I do feel like with Odegaard gone, Arsenal are suffering not creatively but defensively. I mean, they didn't score any goal. I get that, but the reason why I say this is so Odegaard he brings in. He's actually a player who Arsenal doesn't have a direct replacement for. So I mean, for example, I'm not saying Arsenal can directly replace Saka or they can directly replace Martinelli, but there is somebody who can cover or try to do the same job, just not to the same level. But with Odegaard, there is forget doing it to the same level. There is no player at Arsenal who can even do the same type of job. So Arsenal without Odegaard, they tend to suffer in creativity, in attacking, in their transitional play, in quick shifting of the ball, in those delicate, subtle passes that's milliseconds ahead of the defender. And they try to overcompensate it by putting more people forward. So the creative void that is caused due to the absence of Martin Odegaard, Arsenal are forced to counter it by putting more men ahead, putting more midfielders, isolating Declan Rice and putting both the midfielders in attacking positions. Ben White and the left back, they are both pretty much advanced throughout the game. And the defensive line, ultimately, when you have so many people going forward, you don't want to leave too much gap between the lines. So the defensive line naturally advances. Now, that higher defensive line, with so many people playing up ahead, it demands extreme carefulness, extremely good leadership and organization from the center backs, and it puts a lot of pressure on them. They are have to be constantly on their toes. They have one entire half of the pitch to cover
Yeah.
in case of turnover, and the organization it has to be pristine. It has to be accurate to nanometers because offside calls are very deadline these
Yeah.
days, and
Yeah.
you don't want to miss the beat. Now that is where Arsenal
Yes.
have been incurring all these red cards,
Okay.
not
Yes.
getting that perfectly
It's a
right.
brilliant analysis, by the way.
Yeah. Yes. Allow
Okay.
me to chime in. So I would like a couple of points to mention on the Arsenal Bournemouth game, which I saw as very stark. Okay. So I saw Gabriel Martinelli, whom there are always trolls and opinions going on about Gabriel Martinelli being bought for only 6 million by Arsenal, and he literally looks like a player being brought only for 6 million by Arsenal. Okay. So he's
Klopp threw a bone to Arsenal fans by calling him, if you remember, talent of the
yeah.
century.
Yeah, I remember. I still remember. I still remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Gabriel Martinelli being bought by Klopp and molded by Klopp is different. than being molded by Arteta, to be honest, given the current situation. So I am just seeing Gabriel Martinelli as a shadow of himself. I mean, even me saying as a shadow of himself is an exaggeration or an overwhelming statement, because he never used to be that threatening attacker for Arsenal. He just used to be that differential player which used to like contribute goals and assists to Arsenal and give Arsenal the edge. And coming to the next point, so you just played four centre backs and three DMs yesterday against the Bournemouth side, where Anthony Iraola is literally being is I'm not even joking. Besides his Stuttgart manager Sebastian Hoeneß and Bournemouth manager Anthony Iraola, these two are being considered the top choices for the Manchester United job, if at all Eric Ten Hag's job is at risk. So
Yeah.
for a manager of that caliber and capability, and facing a team like Anthony Riola's Bournemouth, given considering their form, and you just played four centre backs and three DMs, and you are just complaining about not being creative enough in the midfield and not scoring enough goals. Isn't that contradictory? Isn't that
And
like
also, you played four CBs, two DMs, and suffered two and considered two goals. So Arteta did get it wrong. He did get his selections wrong. And see, Arteta, I always respect him for being a very pragmatic manager. For example, in the match against City, where they were a man down, and he did not even set up the team to counter. He just wanted to defend the lead as much as possible, and he almost got away with it. But all that pragmatism, all that reactiveness, more so than pragmatism, he's much more reactive. Although he's a disciple of Pep, he's much more a reactive manager than Pep. Pep has some
yeah.
Oh,
great.
what is this Pep slander?
He's
Pep is
Pep is stubborn.
arguably
It's
the
a
best
positive.
half-time
It's not a
manager.
slander. It's not a slander. It's not a slander. Pep is stubborn in a positive way, because no matter the situation, he more often than not believes in his system and expects. He just fine tunes his system. He's never about changing his system. Arteta, on the other hand, he has more cards up his sleeve, but Pep has the trump. That's the difference. Pep has one card, it's the trump. Arteta has more up his sleeve, and those are not great cards. So now, like Charlie mentioned, he went with his three best midfielders, by the way. Although all three of them are DMs, like if you were to rank Arsenal midfielders after Odegaard, there would be Partey, there would most certainly be Rice, and Mikel Merino, with the experience that he brings and his ability, would also be up there. But then again, you have to look into the question whether the creative void left by Odegaard, and that also brings me to
It's a
Fabio
very
Vieira.
one-dimensional.
Vieira was supposed to be the one doing
Yes,
the job in Odegaard's absence, and
Odegaard's absence.
Vieira is a flop that we don't talk about, because I mean, we talk about flops who play and fail. We don't talk about Vieira because we don't see him, and many people have already forgotten about him. Now he's no longer at Arsenal, so that failure is what adds on to Arteta's woes. But see, again, these problems are temporary. Odegaard is going to come back, Saka will return, and Arsenal will resume to their normal ways, and they will start grinding out good results and crashing the teams efficiently. But at the end of the day, you also have to remember that this system is as stable as it is made fragile by the dependency on those two players, Odegaard, and like Charlie mentioned, the lack of diversity in midfielders. Party can probably do the job that Rice does in his own way. Mikel Merino can do the job that both of them does in their own way, but nobody is there to do the
Yes.
Yeah,
job of,
you need
So
somebody with that silky feet.
yeah.
Can be.
Yes. So
not even a
so
proper number eight.
yeah. Yes. So let me chime in like an edge case question. Okay. So considering that you badly want to win the Premier League this season, since you have been subject to so many slander by not only Arsenal fans but like your own fans, but all the other
Wait, are
fans
we
and all
talking
the other
about
teams
Chelsea
competing in the
now?
Premier League.
And
No, no,
including
Arsenal,
us.
Arsenal, Arsenal.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you think any player from the youth system or any young player currently in the Premier League or any other league can play as a substitute or be as a substitute for Martin Odegaard in case, like hypothetically speaking, he has an ACL injury
Asking
and has gone
scouting
for the
level
season.
questions.
I mean, there has to be a slight tweak to the system, in the sense there is a player who does not necessarily play eight, but what Arsenal are missing when Odegaard is absent, Florian Wirtz would bring them exactly that, but that would mean that they shift from that traditional 4-3-3 to a
For
more
the
4-2-3-1.
4-2-3-1. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
4
I
to 3
think this
1 with
replace
Beats in
with
the hole.
Barca.
And there is a very high chance that he's been linked to Barca and Real, but Arsenal need him more. And they have a sense of attractiveness in the market now. I do think it's a probable transfer that can happen, and you also have to consider that even when Odegaard is playing, Beats can still have a position in the team. So he is not necessarily a backup. He could very well be a valuable addition, and I think that's a transfer that would make a lot of sense. And one I wouldn't
At
be very
150
happy to
million
let
euros, it better.
you have to pay, man. You have to pay. You are in the league with the big boys. You better bring the big bucks.
Bro, sounding like all this
I'm a Chelsea fan at the end of the day, so we're rich.
textile jewelry people.
Yeah, but jokes aside
Should
and
we
things
should
aside,
we move on from Arsenal? That's my
You have somebody in mind, Charlie. You have somebody from PL in mind.
no, not necessarily. I was like asking for opinions
See,
from you.
I mean,
But yeah,
if you
jokes
take out
apart
the
and all the
no,
oh,
no, I just want to add one more thing. If you take out the part wherein this player who Arsenal has to bring in, has to be a key player who starts every day, there is somebody who is actually not used well at all in PL. Not exactly a player with a very high ceiling, but I think Emi Buendia, he can do that
ah,
exact job. Like he is that type
I
of
mean,
player, and
okay, okay. So there are like many players in Aston Villa who do that. Morgan Rogers,
there are
Buendia,
yeah.
yeah,
Rodgers would be insane. Okay, I don't see
insane,
Rodgers going
yeah,
to Arsenal. Rodgers would be insane, like supremely talented player, so graceful on the ball yet so strong.
exactly.
He's like you remember Musa Dembele, like the
Musa
old
Dembele,
first
Yeah,
failure.
yeah. He
Spurs
gives me
guy.
Musa Dembele vibes when I watch him because he's so graceful, but he's built like a tank and so effortless when carrying the ball up. Gorgeous player to watch, very aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah, yeah. Speaking
Yeah,
of
but I don't see
Morgan,
Rodgers happening. Rodgers has a career track in Villa. Villa are
yeah,
a club
exactly.
that matches his current stature, so he should be there. He
Yeah,
is where he should be.
Right. Uh, I think we should move on to the next game. You know what? Before we get to the highlight fixture of the week, let's quickly look at what our friendly neighbors, all of our neighbors that we hate, Manchester United, what were they up to? So looks like they actually got away
okay.
with it, which means more of Ten Hag got to win. It's a shame that we don't have Casemiro today. He would have made
Yeah.
for a much lengthier discussion around United. Maybe let's quickly cover the game before moving on to the Liverpool Chelsea fixture.
Charlie, you can
I
take
mean,
the initiative on
yeah,
this one.
yeah. So like, I'll
As the
just
resident United hater in the
Hater.
absence of
Yeah.
City fans.
exactly. So yeah, I just finished this in a quick format, right? So yeah, Manchester United had a pretty good game, pretty solid game yesterday. Like on the wings, Hoyland, on the wings, Rashford and Garnacho were pretty solid yesterday against a Brentford team, which seemed like a team which are so used to hitting goals in the first minute or the second minute so often that they can decapitate teams and demoralize in the first couple of minutes. Manchester United were really solid in the first 20 minutes to not let them even breathe a goal in the first 20 minutes of space. But other than Brentford getting a goal, I mean, not unsurprisingly against Manchester United, to be honest. So, like, but apart from that, Manchester United are pretty solid. It was a pretty predictable win, a 2-1 win, which should give a boost to the morals of Manchester United fan and hopefully keep Ten Hag at the wheel for very long, as all the other Premier League fans and teams would want. So, yeah, that is my short review of.
I would also think that there was a slight, maybe not so slight, visible change in approach. United were evidently risking more, gambling more, and more certainly gaining more. Although they ended up conceding the goal, they were good up until then. There were half chances that were going their way, and Rasmus Højlund in particular. I mean, it
Yeah,
was not about the goal he scored. It was a very fine finish, no doubt, but he was bringing in some proper good old English style center forward play wherein he was harassing the center backs, he was bringing the ball
Your
down.
Andy Carrolls, your Lukaku's.
He was actually able to bring in his attacking midfielders to play. Maybe his link up can improve, but his hold up is really good. He's strong. He's not hesitant to put his head where people usually put their knees. So
so
brave player. He showed a lot of intent. I think he's starting after a long while. So I think that was a very positive sign for United fans. Bruno's assist, it was It was so subtle that it was slutty almost. It was such a delicate touch. I hate Bruno as a player. I think he's whiny. He complains too much,
Yeah.
but he's a very good player. He is probably United's best player. There's no denying it. So Bruno getting that assist, that will boost his confidence. That will mean a lot to United fans. And Johnny Evans is actually, Johnny Evans has his occasional. There is this purple patch wherein he almost we used to say that English Maldini in our groups. Like
Yeah,
once
yeah,
in
yeah.
a while, he just goes crazy and he starts
Crazy.
defending
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah, we
I
actually
mean,
have a couple of players at each club when the manager's job is on the line. They decide
Yeah,
to
they go
become
crazy. Even at
manager.
even at
yeah,
Leicester, Johnny Evans in the cup final, he used to have these really good games. So
yeah.
Evans and
Emi Martinez.
yeah,
Emi
so
Martins.
somebody said actually
Context.
after what Delete, yeah. So after Delete injured his head, somebody asked, okay, why is Delete still on the pitch? And the United fan said because he bleeds red. I mean,
Oh
he was actually
shit!
bleeding, and it was
That goes hard, man.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it was red.
Okay,
So I
but
think
yeah, I mean, Ten Hag pretty much like survived doing the Johnny Evans left back gimmick. Like
he did. He did.
he nonchalantly tried to play Johnny Evans as the left back, and he somehow survived
Yeah,
yesterday.
yeah, he
And
still
Wait, who
survived.
does
surprising,
United play against next? West Ham, is it?
no,
Mm,
it's
I
like
think it
no,
was.
no. Yeah,
Uh,
West Ham it's away. It's West Ham away.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's
I think
West
one
Ham
of them
away.
is gonna get sacked next week. No, both
No,
their
no,
jobs
No,
are
no,
on.
no.
no, no.
No. The most at risk manager now is Wolves manager Gary O'Neill. I don't know how he's surviving. He
Wolves is also
yeah,
usually a very at-risk job.
yeah. I mean, they've played 8 games. They've drawn one and lost 7 matches.
Yeah,
So
On
that guy
for
is very at risk.
they've
And
also,
okay,
but
so
you have to give him
surprisingly,
some slack because Wolves have they have sold a lot of players, they have lost a lot
yeah,
of players, and they've bought
exactly.
in a new team. I
Did
mean,
they
they
sell
are
somebody to
basically
Chelsea? Somebody
they
who's very
they
pleasing on
sold
the ball.
Neto to Chelsea. I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
Neto was a very
Neto
useful
to
player for
Chelsea. Yeah,
Wolves. Like
useful player. Yeah.
silky.
Neto was very key for Wolves.
I
Yeah, I
mean,
made
Not
him
just
I
pretty
mean,
good.
Neto.
no, like if you take the last 5 years, 4 to 5 years, right, going off the track, and apologies. So like Raul Jimenez, Adama Traore, Diego Jota,
Diego Jota,
Daniel Podence,
Daniel Podence.
Pedro Neto,
Yeah,
none of these 5 players are ever at the club now.
yeah.
So
To be
they
fair,
were
Barca
huge.
does annually send two players to make up for whoever they sell
Exactly.
to the rest of the Premier League.
Yeah. I mean, the whole driving force or the huge attack force behind the Wolverhampton team is nothing gone. And they
That
have Huang
attacking,
Hee Chan as a substitute for all
yeah,
of these players
yeah,
they sold. So
yeah.
I don't know where
That
it goes
attacking
for
duo of Jota and Jimenez, it was
Jimenez
actually a
was
really
yeah,
good watch when they were
crazy.
playing
Yeah.
together. Two very mobile center forwards,
All right,
very brilliant.
let's bring it back on track. I wanna
Yeah, yeah.
get
Just
going.
one point. Just
Yeah,
one point about the United game. Like surprisingly, Brian Mbueno and Vitaly Anel like they just vanished. I didn't even see them on the screen pretty much for a very long time. I think I like before the game I was just telling to my brother that Mbueno and Vitaly Anel would be having a field day today against you guys.
Yeah,
But surprisingly, I mean Dillit and Johnny Evans somehow kept them off
yeah.
without even giving them huge chances. Like that was
And
very
Mboma is
commendable.
a very tricky customer to deal with. He's
Very,
way
very,
too
yeah, yeah.
strong for a winger and he's way too fast for a striker. He has a
I
very
mean,
sweet left foot.
I'm not even kidding. The guy has 50 goals and assists in 68 Brentford games.
It's a very good player.
Yeah, that's a very good statistic for
Yeah,
a Brentford team,
yeah.
is
for a
it
team
in the
like
Premier
Brentford.
League?
Yeah, yeah,
And he's a very tricky player to defend against because he's almost a winger and almost a striker, but he's mostly
9.5,
a striker.
Yes,
Yeah,
you
nine
had
point.
one of
9.5.
those back in the
Yeah,
day.
VS
No, let's not
9.5.
do this.
That
Who's
is
that?
Yeah,
just
I have a very
see,
specific player in mind when I say this.
no,
But
the 9.5 we are all talking about is has an afro
Xerxes.
haircut. He's very tall, and the 9.5 says that I cannot promise United fans goals, but I'll promise you efforts.
wait, are we
So yeah,
talking about
Mboma
billion?
is more likely a 7.5 because he's as good as a winger, but he can do a job centrally. So I would actually having someone like that in my team. But yeah, our right wing is kind of stacked at this point. So
Yeah. One more, and you can open a university where people can come and learn forward position in Premier League football. Anyway, come on, let's get to Reds beating the Blues. That's why we have Charlie here. That's why we have you here. I'm gonna put Charlie in the center. He has
So,
earned it for the result over the weekend.
so yeah, Chris. So yeah, pretty much but before the game, I was like, yeah, I had a reference to my brother because we were like, we were just fighting after the Manchester United game. We were just fighting that, and he argued to me that we would be losing badly to Chelsea, or we would be drawing, and we'd be having a very very tough game against the Chelsea side, which has Cole Palmer. Okay, so I think I predicted Arne Slot to win, and it was a pretty routine win, a 2-1 win or a 2-0 win. It was pretty much a routine win like any other games in the past 2 to 3 months since our next dot came in. And I should say here, and I should applaud Trent Alexander Arnold for having a really, really defensive performance. I
Yeah.
mean, the guy literally pocketed Sancho, and in the second half, I forgot who came in for Sancho. BS, correct me here.
Neto.
Yeah,
Yeah, Neto
yeah.
came
It
out
was
for
Neto, Neto. Yeah,
Chelsea.
yeah.
They had to
Yeah.
switch
Yeah.
wings.
I mean,
Then
Trent
it was
Alexander-Arnold.
Nkunku.
Yeah. He literally pocketed Nkunku, Neto, and Sancho. He had a very, very
I
good
don't know
defensive.
which game Charlie was watching. I think we can all say that Neto was the best player for Chelsea on the pitch yesterday. What
Yeah,
do you
yeah.
mean?
I mean,
No,
he was really, really
he
threatening.
see. I wouldn't think that football is all about ball carrying. At the end of the day, you have to create your chances. I thought Caicedo was very maybe very good in midfield. Even Lavia was pretty good. But yeah, I think where we lost the
Yes,
game to
yes,
Liverpool
yes.
is.
Sorry. But it's time Enzo learned Chinese or Arabic, mate. Come on.
See, I've always
Yeah.
maintained, I mean, I don't think this is new. I've always maintained during our previous podcasts as well that Enzo, as good a player as he is not a team player. He places too much importance upon himself and he lacks leadership. And by leadership, I don't mean, commanding players around. He
And
lacks
he
game
has
leadership.
armband. That's the weirdest
his
part. Does he
his
still have?
his decision making is not up to the mark in terms of when you choose to attack, when he wants the team. He doesn't play in tandem with the team. He
Yeah.
plays at his own pace and expects the team to
He
follow.
plays like your
He
gully
plays
football's
like
best
a
player.
he plays like a World Cup winner. He won the World Cup with Argentina. He forgets that. So I
Yeah.
think that's the
Yeah.
issue.
There is only one or two solutions with respect to Enzo. Either you get in a manager who can get him in line, get the best out of Enzo, which looks unlikely because Maresca is nicely settling in. He's probably
Which
the
looks likely because Maresca had the audacity to bench Enzo against Liverpool at Anfield and bring in Lavia out of nowhere. Lavia
Yeah.
played one match, he got injured, and
I
he
think it's
hasn't been
just to
playing.
rub in the faces of Liverpool
No, I
fans.
think I think that was a statement move. Like nobody expected Lavia to be. I mean, nobody was expecting Reece James to be
Yeah.
starting either. But
Starting to,
nobody
yeah.
expected Lavia to start, and Lavia did well. Lavia is very silky on the ball. I think Lavia is going to have a very very bright future at Chelsea.
So the more
Let's not
likely
get
option
injured.
is Enzo getting shipped out.
The more
Given
likely option is Maresca getting it through to Enzo's head that he is a valuable player as long as he is one among the squad, not the entire squad. So I think that message has to go across. So I don't blame Maresca for dropping Enzo. I do somehow still blame him for starting James so early. But yeah, I think he kind of managed the minutes well. Reece James.
Yeah.
James
These
over
James. These
Yeah,
James.
yeah, and James
Yeah.
was actually pretty good in that right centre back role. His passing was good. He managed his defensive duties. So very nice player to watch when he's
nobody
fit,
has
but
a problem with
very rare.
the car. It's just that it breaks down at
Breaks
every
down often.
kilometer radius.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the issue.
I
Now,
mean,
one thing I
yeah.
want to mention is the refereeing call. Now, there were a lot of controversies surrounding this,
Yeah.
and there were a lot of Arsenal fans saying that. I mean, they obviously were offended because of the Saliba red card, and there was this moment when Torsin Adarabioyo he fouled. I think it was Jota, and he was not given a red card. Now,
Yes.
people love to blame the referee, and VAR has even more reasons to be rightfully blamed. But I think these two occasions where Saliba got red carded and Tosin got yellow carded were good examples of how the technology and the referees they work well in tandem. There are certain key differences that I want to highlight so that any Arsenal fan who had discussed it with me has it clear. can you bring on the because in the first instance when Saliba was chasing Ivan Ilsen, so the criterions for getting the red card is that the ball has to be played towards the goal, and the player who was fouled should be in a position to gain control of the ball or take a shot at goal.
I love it how when VS is, defending the referee, we can barely hear him. It's like a
I'll try.
purposeful veil of ambiguity.
Yeah,
So,
No,
ambiguous.
no. I'll defend the referees here with my full voice. So the ball that was played towards Ivan Nilsson, it was going towards the goal. The ball was towards the goal. There was no covering player. Evan Nilsson was ahead of Saliba, which meant that he had every chance to control the ball and then take it forward. And Raya was kind of out of his line, and it could have been a shot on target. Now the ball that Tosin defended, that pass itself makes a key difference because the pass that Arsenal had to defend was towards the goal. But here you can see there is no covering defender. Saliba is the last defender. The other defender is way away from the screen, and the other two on the far side are behind the line. So it is only Saliba who is in a position to defend this ball, and Evan Nilsson is clearly ahead of Saliba in a very central position, and the ball is being played straight towards the goal, and the goalkeeper is in no man's land. He has to backpedal. He cannot come and clear it. So that counts as a potential goal scoring opportunity, which was denied by the foul. Now let's go to the Chelsea Liverpool match. The key difference here was that the ball that was played, the pass that came in, it was not a straight pass towards the goal. That ball had spin on it, and the ball was spinning away from the attacker. Now, again, Tosin was the last defender, and Jota was ahead of him. But the spin on the ball and the curvature of the pass made Levi Colville, who was covering a much more eligible recipient of the pass after the pass bounce, because it was always going towards the right side. And Levi Colville's presence over there, along with the curvature of the pass, meant that it was not the ball was not played towards goal. The ball was going away from the goal towards the right side. First difference. Second difference, there was a player in a covering position, which was not in case of Saliba. Levi Colville was very well positioned to cover for that ball. And the goalkeeper again was not stuck in no man's land, but that's a minor factor. But in Saliba's case, the player was going to get control of the ball. The ball was towards the goal, and Saliba had no other players covering him. So I think the nuance of it makes the decisions very well justified, and I
so how do
see
you defend the
arbitral
Darwin
game.
Nunez foul in the closing
I'm not.
stages?
I'm not even going to try defending that. I have no reason to try defending that. We got
Imagine
away
if
with one.
Chelsea had actually ended up
I
countering
would have
that.
I would have called ourselves lucky and moved on. That's it. There is nothing to defend over there. It was not a foul. But this one, I think the ref made a right call, both in case of Saliba and in case of Tosin. Uh, I rest my case, Your Honor.
Folks, do we?
Wow.
What is
Okay.
the judgment?
I mean, so yeah,
It does make a
that I
convincing
mean,
argument.
there was really a commendable analysis on the matter. So I just had a similar thing to say too. So yeah, that Saliba thing was a clear red card, and this Colville thing wasn't a red card, to be honest. And the reasons were justified enough in the plethora of posts that we read. So, coming back to the Liverpool side of the game and the whole game itself, so I'm coming back to the Trent Alexander-Arnold point. So, just to state here, if like Trent Alexander-Arnold pocketed Sancho, Neto, and Nkunku, okay, and there was no mention of that ever in the English media after the game. I mean, Gary Neville would have had his head off by now. Okay. And if the roles were reversed, okay, let's say Reece James pocketed Trent Alexander Arnold or Renato Vega pocketed like Trent Alexander Arnold or Salah,
Yeah,
Gary
because
Neville, give
Trent
me a second here.
Alexander-Arnold playing a game, playing it well, that's like the sun shining in India.
Not
Meanwhile,
defensively,
Reece
not
James
always.
comes and does it, it's
See,
like the sun
Charlie,
shining in the UK.
no man, Charlie has a point over there.
Give
Like
me
we,
give me a
see,
second here, okay. So if the
yeah,
roles were reversed, okay, if at all Renato Vega had pocketed Salah, if at all Malo Gusto had pocketed Salah, the Suns or the Guardians tomorrow headline would be that personally sponsored by Gary Neville. Okay, so that would have been the difference, and that is the agenda being run by Trent Alexander-Arnold. run by all these pundits. They call pundits themselves, and the English national team, and it was run by Gareth Southgate himself. Okay, so that's my point. Okay, so coming to the next points, this we had a pretty good game yesterday. Okay, so defensively or offensively, I didn't see any pockets of loose passes or loose air that where the ball was like just passed into thin air and we didn't correct it and we didn't use our chances. Yes, Salah had some pretty good 4 to 5 chances where he could have converted those goals, and the game could have finished in for like 4-1 or something. But like Salah is Salah. I mean, I don't like a bit making. And then Darwin Nunes, that cameo was like awesome, to be honest. I think I think like at a point in time, Arne Slot has realized Diego Jota is his main striker, and then he's going to use Darwin Nunes as the Joelinton type second striker and striker that Eddie Howe once used in Newcastle. Okay, Joelinton still plays, I think, an almost second striker role to Alexander Isak, and then he almost always gives.
I mean, Charlie, I'm sorry to interrupt, but when you
Yeah, yeah,
mention Joelinton, you also have to mention the legendary reinvention of Joelinton from a flop striker to a good
yes, yes,
second striker to an insanely good midfielder.
instantly, yes,
Complete
get you.
transformation.
Yeah. That is what I was trying to say. So, like you were saying, he's an insanely good midfielder right now. So, I think Arne Slot is trying to mold Darwin Nunes into that literal second striker or even a cam sort of role where he can give those defining passes and defining assists to
You
our
know,
forward line and then change the game. I mean,
this
the first ever pass, the first ever touch that Darwin Nunes took after coming onto the game was the back heel pass, which he gave to Salah, and then Salah went on to create a chance. So I think Arne Slot is trying to mold Darwin Nunes into that, and I'm really happy for him at the end of the day.
it's really interesting because I think yesterday, even when we were chatting in the group in a very different context, I was bringing up how Darwin Nunes is like a poor man's Rafinha or something. But under Hansi Flick, this is the exact reinvention Rafinha has had this season, and playing like a second striker and almost dropping in midfield, similar to how Harry Kane used to do for Spurs. And you can see the results on the pitch. He's somehow like going from somebody who was going to get sold to being our captain and our most important player alongside, Petri. That speaks volume about how that reinvention can actually be a total game changer. And I see Nunez with very similar skill sets, like very high work ethic, poor first touch, and has three lungs, can do the running up and down the
Yeah,
entire 90 minutes. So I think it's worth pursuing, I would say. It's a very interesting point.
See, actually, bro,
yeah,
adding to what all you said, no, the thing about Darwin Nunez is he's a very good chaos creator. Okay, and he has the capacity to go
exactly.
into the box and pull a couple of defenders to his side and create space for someone else. Okay,
Yeah,
to come in and score.
dummy.
And sorry.
Act as a decoy striker.
Yeah, act as a decoy, exactly. And the second attribute that Darwin Nunez has is that his hold-up play is very good. Uh, Personally, I wanted him at Arsenal when Darwin Nunez deleted his posts in Instagram featuring Liverpool and all. No, I thought they are going to sell him, and I personally wanted him at Arsenal. Okay, so I'm a huge fan of Darwin Nunez. He's not your typical like number nine, bro. Like as Charlie bro was saying, right? He's not your typical number nine. He can create well. He can open up that space. So if Arne Slot is able to use him in that position, then again, fantastic. So I mean, big up to Darwin Nunez. That's it
Yep,
from my
I
end.
Yeah.
think that was an interesting segue. Do we have anything else? Any other important results
I mean,
related
yeah.
to any
I
title
think I think Kashyap
contenders?
was disagreeing with me on the Tosin potential red card.
I will, yeah, bro. See,
Yeah.
I see. My stance is very simple. Okay, Salibas was red. I have no doubt about it. No questions. That
Definitely.
was clear red. Okay. Now, whether the ball is going away from the goal or towards the goal, whatever it is, last man challenge is a last man challenge, right? So it has to be red. That is my
No, Kashyap. So it is not written in the
Kashyap,
rules
you
that the
missed the
last man
university lesson
challenge
where VS
Yeah,
challenge
explained
is the
why
yes,
red.
it is not a red.
The rules are clearly stating that it shouldn't just be a last man challenge. The player in or the opposition player should be in a position where he can control the ball. That control the ball is a key factor,
Kashyap,
and potentially shoot at goal. So that was not valid in Diego Jota's
You
case.
know what you should do, VS, after the stream? Go apply for one of these European Super League lawyer positions because they could really use
like,
your
I mean,
ambiguity and
also,
your reading of the
also,
law.
also Kashyap just time travel back like 10 minutes and then see what VS just said, man. He just
Yeah, we
explained an
should get
entire
a
theory on
yeah,
that.
senior
yeah.
person.
I saw that.
Yeah,
I saw that.
Chelsea
After
fan
seeing all
defense
that, okay.
referee should be the title,
it
and we
should
are
be
gonna get
titled.
him
No,
cancelled.
I'm not
I
trying
mean,
to
I mean, PG
overcomplicate
Mole,
something very
PG
simple,
Mole,
but just
PG Mole,
saying that
PG Mole,
a
the jury
last
there.
man challenge is a red is an oversimplification of the laws. It's not necessarily a last man
Yeah,
challenge. So if a
I
last man challenge happens at the corner flag, that's not a red. That's a yellow and a free kick. So the last man challenge, the position of both the players and the defenders matter. The direction in which the ball going is matter. And usually we see last man challenges as red. For example, the Federico Valverde challenge on Alvaro Morata. See, again, last man challenge. It's not red because it was a last man challenge. It was because Morata had controlled the ball. He was going to take a shot on goal. There was nobody else covering, and the tackle happened. So usually all these criterions are met in the red card, and commentators, for the lack of time, called it a last man red card. But
And
it's
where were
definitely
you in
not.
the 2014 finals, man? The
Which
Madrid
one?
derby when Carrasco
Yeah.
was all alone and he would stomp past Real Madrid's half and then he gets pulled in by your gentleman Sergio
Yeah.
Ramos. He got away with a yellow,
Low.
which should have been a red. And
See,
then remind
I'm
me
not
who
saying
scored
it
the goal
always
again?
works.
The winner?
I'm not here to defend referees in general. I'm just defending this particular
Fair
instance.
enough. Fair
Saliba
enough.
was a red and Tosin
All
was a red.
right. I think we had
Okay.
one too many segues. I think we are also pretty much over time.
and uh, uh, and
Keep,
also
yeah,
I just want to highlight the result that we had yesterday in the previous game week. This is the Man City Wolves fixture, which Man City won.
man.
Man City won 2-1,
Can we
courtesy of a
please
last.
highlight
Curt,
City's
courtesy,
results only when they drop points?
yeah, wait. Courtesy of a last minute John Stones goal. Because as a Liverpool fan, I'm traumatized whenever John Stones is the decider in a Man City fixture.
Yeah.
Okay, like so. Yeah, I'm just saying that. That's it.
John Stones is just English
No, bro.
comedy.
There is one more thing. Okay, like Gary O'Neill has told that he will ask Wolves to appeal against the John Stones goal.
Yeah, I mean that's a
Apparently,
pretty controversial goal. Yeah,
It's cute when people think they can appeal
appeal.
for goals and try to overturn. You don't get your cards overturned here in the PL. Just ask Arteta. And here there are people trying to overturn. How does it even work? The game is
we are
over.
we are see we are also known as apology letter FC. Okay, so
What?
whenever we go for any appeal, no, they give us an apology and close the case. We've been there at Man United. We've seen it at Brentford at home. So apology letters FC.
It's really sad to be an Arsenal fan because you don't have the war chest of City. You don't have an eccentric owner like Chelsea.
Yeah.
Or you don't have the referees in your side like a United. What is the deal that you get? I don't know.
We get fuck
Being
all
a top club.
basically. We get nothing. No, see, again, I'll tell you one thing, bro. From this point on, okay, it is just siege mentality. If Arsenal has to go on to win the league, they have to very well put in their mind that, the referees are not going to favor you. You
Yeah,
won't get decisions. Even 50-50 calls won't come for you. They'll only
exactly.
go against you.
It's like
So you just have
playing
to
for
play.
Barca in Spain. It's
Like,
you
exact.
against the world.
Yeah, so Arteta has told us, like, what I feel from my side. Okay, the most Arteta can do is he can ask his players to control themselves while they are playing. Like, but if the referee sees you kick, if the referee just sees you, just nudging the ball away and gives you red for that, you can't do anything much about it. So the maximum Arteta can do is ask his players to shut up and not argue, and that is pretty much what we're doing every match. But it's okay. I mean, siege mentality. So of us against the world.
The maximum Arteta can do is take Arsenal to a Europa League final 2 years down the line, where they lose it to Fenerbahce under Mourinho, or for Jose to call him specialist in
Bro,
failure
bro,
all
bro,
over
bro,
again. Too.
bro,
Exactly.
bro. Let's. I mean,
No offense,
you know,
man.
no. I'm not taking any offense. I mean,
Okay,
this is not
Hey,
new to me.
even
Okay.
even if you want to take offense, you have to do it in your
yeah.
own time because we
Own
are out
time.
of time here.
No,
Signing
no.
off, people.
Yeah, no. What I wanted to say is we've been seeing this for what 21 years now. So when we win
You became
something,
an Arsenal
we
fan 4 years ago. What do you mean?
yeah. I mean, no. I'm saying the general perception of
He
Arsenal
means
fan is
Arsenal.
we
Sorry.
we haven't won any league. We haven't won any league in 21 years, and we haven't won the UCL at all. So once we win, we will be there to talk, and at that time you
Yeah,
won't
the
have the
question is
answers.
whether you will do the talking or your grandchildren.
Doesn't matter. My grandchildren will do it also. I'm fine.